Well, we believe the U.S. attorney is pressing forward with this case and may be presenting to a grand jury as soon as today. And we're, of course, working to learn more. And this is coming after the developments last night, where we learned that career prosecutors inside the office presented a memo to Lindsay Halligan, the newly installed U.S. attorney, recommending that she not bring charges, because they said that not only don't they believe that the office could win a conviction beyond a reasonable doubt in front of a jury, they don't even believe there's probable cause to believe that a crime has been committed. That's a much lower standard. And Justice Department guidelines would dictate that you have to at least believe you have a good chance to win in front of a jury to bring a case. So lots of people inside that office don't think this case should be brought. But nonetheless, the White House obviously has been pressing, and Donald Trump has been publicly saying that he believes James Comey should be fired, should be charged, I'm sorry. And he forced the resignation of the previous U.S. attorney, Eric Siebert, who we are told was not on board with bringing these charges. And so this is where we are right now. We're watching to see whether this office presses forward with the case, whether there are any resignations or firings among career prosecutors who aren't on board with this case, and then what happens next, Anna.
And again, this testimony was from 5 years ago. Can you provide some more context about what exactly he was discussing in that congressional hearing? And wasn't his testimony and allegations of lying already part of an Inspector General investigation, Ken?
Yeah, it was. And this is stuff that's been publicly aired for years. This was a big Senate hearing on the FBI Trump-Russia investigation. James Comey testified. He was grilled for hours by senators. We believe that in part this case focuses on an exchange that he had with Senator Ted Cruz, where Cruz had asked him about a previous question that was put to him by Senator Charles Grassley way back in 2017 about whether he had authorized leaks to the media. And in particular, this is about a disclosure that his deputy, Andrew McCabe, made to the Wall Street Journal about investigations into the Clinton Foundation. Essentially, Comey said he didn't authorize it. McCabe had taken the position that he did at some point. The Inspector General looked into this and sided with Comey, essentially decided that there's no evidence to support the idea that Comey did authorize it. McCabe had the authority to talk to the media anyway as the deputy director. He didn't need Comey's permission. But look, even if there is divergent accounts about what happened there, that doesn't add up to perjury. In order to make a perjury charge, you have to show that James Comey knew that he was lying, was intentionally trying to mislead Congress. And I'm not aware of any evidence that supports that. We'll have to see what, if anything, this case does to change that.
Monica, this has been a long-standing feud, to say the least, between President Trump and James Comey. He fired Comey back in 2017. Comey wouldn't pledge loyalty to him, pledge loyalty to the Constitution. Tell us more what you're learning of the president's pressure campaign.
Well, this has really been an explicit pressure campaign from President Trump, Anna, against people not just like James Comey, but others that he has name-checked over the weekend. In fact, remember, he directed his attorney general, specifically writing in a post on social media, Pam, and then listing why he believes James Comey and why he believes California Senator Adam Schiff or New York Attorney General Letitia James should potentially face some charges as well. And in that kind of description, it's remarkable because he really says quite clearly what he wants to do. And he is saying, quote, it's killing our reputation and credibility, he says, because of the delay. And he is really being urgent in his words here, saying that, quote, justice must be served now. So he has been completely direct in what he would like to see happen here. And when he was asked about that, and when the White House was pressed on trying to respond to some of these claims that he is making, the president admitted that, OK, if somebody is not guilty, fine, he's fine with that. But if they are, that is where he wants to see some action. He did concede that. And the White House is saying that this isn't an issue that he's taking up with his attorney general in terms of being unhappy with her. He says he has total confidence in her, but that it's some of these other key prosecutors you've just been talking about that he wants.
We've seen so many times that we've gone right up to the hour and then maybe there is a solution, maybe there's a negotiation. But as of right now, the stalemate absolutely continues, and Democrats are not budging despite this threat. If anything, they're pointing out the fact that Republicans hold the White House, the Senate, and the House. And vote does not have to take this step at all. I mean, like you said, past shutdowns, there have been furloughs. Federal workers have had back pay. But this new threat to fire a number of federal workers, if anything, has shown a number of Democrats, including Senate Democrats, who were kind of weighing whether to support this funding bill. They were genuinely weighing and wanting to know if Republicans in the future would continue to cut already appropriated funds, which we've seen happen through DOGE, through other measures that have happened already this year. So at this point in time, I really do not see Democrats, both in the House and the Senate, moving on this.
Typically, grand juries will indict cases that prosecutors put in front of them because prosecutors are careful to answer any questions that they have up front with presentations of witnesses or discussions of the law. Federal grand juries consist of 16 to 23 members. It takes 12 votes to obtain an indictment. So that's the target that the government will be setting its sights on here. But I want to go back to something that Ken said, because I think it's incredibly important. It only takes probable cause to get an indictment. That means it's more likely or not that a crime was committed. But the standard that prosecutors are required to follow by the federal principles of prosecution, sort of a prosecutor's Bible, is that prosecutors believe that they can both obtain a conviction at trial and sustain it on appeal. And in a case like this, where career prosecutors have written to a brand new, inexperienced U.S. attorney to say, not only do we not have what the federal principles of prosecution require, we don't even have probable cause. That's a moment where everyone should perhaps reconsider this case. That's not going to happen, but prosecutors may be in a situation where a grand jury won't indict.
There have been two explosive developments this week revealing how political pressure is fracturing America's core institutions. From Justice Department resignations to mass federal layoff threats, the system is straining under unprecedented demands. Career prosecutors are pushing back against politically driven cases. Internal memos reveal attorneys questioning whether charges against figures like James Comey meet basic legal standards. When experienced prosecutors say no probable cause, that's significant. Public demands for prosecutions, combined with strategic personnel changes, create an environment where legal professionals face impossible choices. Some comply, others resign, and institutional norms bend under political weight. Past administrations faced criticism, but direct public pressure on specific prosecutions represents a fundamental shift in executive-judicial boundaries. Meanwhile, the White House threatens permanent federal layoffs during any shutdown, not temporary furloughs. This escalates traditional budget negotiations into existential questions about government employment and democratic governance itself. These pressures extend beyond Washington, affecting public trust in institutions from courts to federal agencies nationwide. Both scenarios show institutions under stress. Whether it's prosecutors questioning cases or federal workers facing permanent job loss, the traditional boundaries between politics and governance are being tested. These aren't isolated incidents. They're symptoms of a system where political pressure increasingly overrides institutional safeguards and professional judgment.